How's it going, everyone? I want to take you guys through a bunch of PlayStation game news and updates, particularly something pretty interesting that Neil Druckmann noted about Naughty Dog and why they haven't revealed their next PlayStation 5 game yet. And I actually think it's a really good reason, and it's something that I have constantly said that developers should do more often. We'll talk all about that. Speaking of which, got a bit of an update on The Last of Us as a whole as far as how many copies the game has sold, and we have some new artwork for the upcoming multiplayer project, have a bit of an update on the upcoming game demo for One Piece Odyssey, and a bit of an update on that game in general, and want to go over some PSVR 2 news at the end of this video, just a reiteration of all the free upgrades that will be coming to that platform. If you're dropping a pretty penny on it, you know, north of $600 on the headset, if you already have some games, well, be prepared to at least get some free upgrades right out the gate. We'll talk that at the end of this video, but first of all, Neil Druckmann noted something pretty interesting in an interview with comicbook.com. This was to promote The Last of Us, the debut of the HBO series that is coming up here very soon. He talked about why Naughty Dog hasn't officially revealed their next PlayStation 5 game, and it was noted this. Quote, "You're right, we did announce Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us Part 2 way in advance, but that actually caused a little bit of the work-life balance issues that we've sometimes had at the studio. By delaying the announcement a bit, we could play with the schedule more, and we're more conscious of now about how we're approaching production. So there's our Last of Us multiplayer project, and there's another project that I will not say anything about that's beyond that we are also very much excited for, whether that be a Last of Us Part 3, an entirely new IP, a new Uncharted game, which I find that to be rather unlikely. I think if Uncharted continues, it might be given to another studio or something to that effect, but in this case, I just think this is a really good idea, not necessarily because, you know, I don't want to know about what developers are working on, but it is so often that these games are revealed so many years in advance, and like, what is the point of that anyway, when ultimately 5 out of 10 times, and that's probably putting it a little bit of a low portion, but 50% of the times the games see massive delays anyway, especially when you're of the mindset of revealing a game 3-4 years before you have any intention of even releasing it. Like, look at, I don't really know why Sony revealed Marvel's Wolverine outside of it being something to sell more PS5s, but at that point, like, PlayStation 5s were already completely, like, out of stock everywhere. So, like, what was the necessity of revealing that game? It's being done by Insomniac. Insomniac is finally releasing Spider-Man this year. We didn't even need to know about Marvel's Wolverine all those years ago, and you know, that trailer, like, told us nothing about the game. Sure, it's exciting. Insomniac working on a Wolverine game, that's exciting to a lot of people, but we're not going to get to play that game until 2025, maybe 2026. So, like, what was the point of revealing that trailer outside of telling us, hey, it's in development, but now people are like, why haven't we heard about the game? Well, we haven't heard about the game because Spider-Man 2 is still in development, and we're still waiting to get that game. Again, excited for Wolverine, but it was just a complete head-scratcher as to why that game needed to be revealed at that specific event. I believe that was the 2021 showcase, right? Like back in June of 2021, I believe that's when the game was revealed. I might be wrong about that, but it was quite a while ago. And in the case of Naughty Dog, yeah, we have seen this in the past. I want to say that Uncharted 4 was revealed the December that the PlayStation 4 was released, right? If my memory, this is totally off the top of my head, but I remember you got like a brief CG trailer that was like, I believe like a trailer of a map, and then, you know, you saw Uncharted 4. Okay, great. Like, everybody knew that game was coming. Why did it need to be revealed in December of 2013 or whenever it was? And then, you know, we didn't see a release of that game until May of 2016. I would just like that window to be a little shortened. You know, sometimes Square Enix is very much guilty of that, where they reveal a game like 7 years before it actually comes out. You know, with the FF7 remake, I thought it was like a pleasant surprise that that game was revealed and we got it 5 years after the initial reveal. I just think it would be nice if developers and publishers could cool their jets a little bit, you know, lay back, let people speculate on what games are being worked on. Let reports come out. People are going to be talking regardless. But again, I point out a Bethesda that revealed Starfield how many years ago? That revealed Elder Scrolls 6 at that same event, I want to say. And we're not going to get Elder Scrolls 6 until like 2026, 2027. What are we doing here? Like, that game, it's going to be like a decade from the reveal and the announcement to ultimately the game seeing a release. And honestly, it could be more than that, but that's just just my 2 cents on it. I would like to see more developers just lay low for a little while. You know, if you have an internal expectation of when a game is gonna be released, and then a game has to be delayed, well, then it's not gonna be like something where you have to deal with public backlash or anything like that. Like, remember when they had that event where they announced The Last of Us Part 2 release date, and then it just got delayed anyway, like a few weeks later or a month later or something like that? It's just like, you want to avoid situations like that. And I get it, delay a game, what's that Miyamoto called? A game that's delayed is eventually good, but a game released early broken is forever bad, or whatever it is. I understand that, but that doesn't mean we have to pick one or the other. We can not announce a release date, not reveal a game, and also, you know, cook it up, make sure it's good, and then release it as well, just so there isn't pressure put on the developers either. Like, developers deserve to chill out, work on a game at whatever pace they want, and then have that work-life balance. And then ultimately, when it is released, it's a product that they can be very happy with, and not a product that ultimately had to be delayed several times, and then they have to deal with people getting upset on Twitter, because I'm sure developers and publishers don't want to deal with that either, and that's just a bad look on any game. So I actually like this route. You know, I don't want to hear about whatever Naughty Dog is working on until they are really ready to release it. Like, I feel like what Bethesda did with Fallout 4 was a really good way to go about it. Like, everybody knew that game was in development, but ultimately they revealed it in 2018 at that E3, I want to say, or right before E3, and then it came out that fall. Not 2018, 2018 was Fallout 76, 2015 was Fallout 4. And I'm not saying you always have to have a 5 to 6 month turnaround period, but I would just like to see that a little bit more often. A year, 5 to 6 months, 18 months, somewhere around that window. Like, when are we actually gonna play the Quantic Dream Star Wars game? Like, let's be real here. It's gonna be a long time, and I want to see less of that. As much as I think that game is gonna be high quality, it's just we're not gonna play it for a long time. That's just my 2 cents on it. I know a lot of you guys would probably disagree, and the second a game is being developed and worked on, you want to hear about it and hear an official statement, etc., etc. And sometimes it's exciting. Like, it was exciting when Ubisoft announced and revealed that they're working on a Splinter Cell remake, and that shut a lot of people up. Shut people up like me that always constantly beg for a Splinter Cell title, but a lot of the times, you know, the 4 to 5 year waits can be a little bit arduous. Nonetheless, again, my 2 cents on that. Moving on from that, rambled quite a bit there. Last of Us series has topped 37 million sold. That is across Last of Us 1, 2, you know, the remaster of Last of Us 1, and then also Last of Us Part 1. So they've released it quite a few times. Remember that while it's at 37 million, it's going to easily crack that 40 million number, given that Last of Us Part 1 is also dropping on PC on March the 3rd, and Last of Us is a franchise that's always going to consistently sell. It was noted we're looking ahead to The Last of Us' 10th anniversary in June, and we're so excited to share more with you about the future of this franchise. That seems like a great time to announce the multiplayer game, because I imagine that's pretty far along. We'll have some fun surprises for you along the way, but later this year we will begin to offer you some details on our ambitious The Last of Us multiplayer game. The project is shaping up to be a fresh, new experience from our studio, but one rooted in Naughty Dog's passion for delivering incredible stories, characters, and gameplay. It was noted the television adaptation of The Last of Us premiering on HBO and HBO Max January 15th. PC version of Last of Us Part 1 due out March 3rd, and interviews and behind-the-scenes looks at the original Last of Us Part 1, and its adaptation to television will be coming as well. So obviously, Last of Us is a franchise that some people were soured on after Last of Us Part 2, but it's obviously still a juggernaut for Sony, and one of those IPs that I'm sure they're going to be invested into for the long term. I would like to see, you know, juggle a little bit of Uncharted there. I know we got a lot of Uncharted content with the 4 mainline games, Lost Legacy, Golden Abyss, etc., etc., but I think there's a lot more room and story to tell with Uncharted as well. And we haven't heard anything about Uncharted since Lost Legacy, which I want to say was, what, 6 years ago? Yeah, it's been quite a long time since we heard about that, so maybe that's something that they could juggle. I know that Naughty Dog probably wouldn't helm a new Uncharted game, but that would be pretty exciting for me. Alright, moving on from that, do want to know, One Piece Odyssey official demo overview video has been uploaded. It was noted that the demo will be the first 1 to 2 hours of gameplay, with Luffy and crew members landing on a mysterious island. Save data from the One Piece Odyssey demo will be transferable to the full release of the game. The demo is going to be completely free. You don't got to pre-order the game or anything like that. that the game will officially be released on January 12th on PC, PS5, Xbox. That release will be happening on January 13th, PS4 as well. Excited to check this one out, man. I'm not a big One Piece guy, as I've stated many times, but, you know, I think this is going to be an RPG that is going to be somewhat accessible for a non-One Piece fan as well. And look, I've heard about how great One Piece is from several people. I'm sure many of you have that aren't big One Piece fans. I hear it from people in my comment section all the time being like, yo, if you need to, just read the manga. It's going to be faster paced, etc., etc. It's just, I mean, I would rather watch the anime if I was to get into One Piece. I'm not like a big manga reader unless it's like something I'm super into. But, you know, you're talking 900 episodes, 1,000 episodes. That's just like a colossal undertaking when you're talking about somebody that's got a disgusting backlog of games to work through as well. It was also noted by PlayStation Game Size, One Piece Odyssey will be 29.405 gigabytes on PlayStation 5, 31.823 gigabytes on PlayStation 4. That's very, very tame for an RPG on PlayStation. Like, that's nothing at all. Preload will kick off January 11th and, of course, launch January 13th. One last thing to note. Do want to note that PlayStation VR have been getting a lot of news coming out of CES. As far as the games that if you already own, they're going to get free PSVR 2 upgrades. You've got After the Fall, Hello Neighbor VR, Gran Turismo 7 VR, if you own GT7, Light Brigade, No Man's Sky, Pistol Whip, and then Zenith the Last City. Zenith the Last City is that MMO. And I think that's going to be a title a lot of people want to check out. So all of those games are going to see free upgrades if you do pick up VR2. They'll transition right into the VR2 version. And then if you own Resident Evil Village, remember that come February 22nd, launch day of PSVR 2, that'll be getting the VR mode as free DLC. So that's the entirety of Resident Evil Village. You'll be able to play that in the VR mode as well. I think RE Village is going to be one of the standout games that people are going to want to check out with VR. I thought Resident Evil 7... that game was tremendous through VR. I was surprised at how engaging that was as a survival horror title with its VR component. And I feel like survival horror games, just generally speaking, they can work very well in VR and they can be incredibly immersive. So hopefully they can parlay the success of that into RE Village as well. I know the rhetoric with most people, PSVR 2 is incredibly pricey and it's not something a lot of people are going to be able to afford launch day, and especially with, you know, if you're picking up VR2, like, are you really going to be able to also pick up all of these major titles that are coming out in January, February, March? Like, do you really want to be in a position where you're looking at buying games like Forspoken, Dead Space Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, Wild Heart, Tales of Symphonia Remastered, smaller games like that, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I can go on and on. Like, that's just off the top of my head. And then also drop north of $600 on VR2, and then all the games coming out on VR2. Like, if you have that level of disposable income, great, but most people, I imagine, are not gonna, and VR2 would probably cut into the games that you would buy during this really busy spring period. Also, like, come April, you got stuff like Burning Shore as well, so there's just a ton of stuff coming out in VR2. I feel like the people that are super into VR are gonna check it out right away, but other people, probably something that's gonna have to take a backseat, at least maybe until the summer, the holidays, once they make like bundles and whatnot, that people are going to be at least a little bit more enticed to pick up from a value standpoint. But that is going to do it for me. Again, Neil Druckmann speaking on why Naughty Dog hasn't revealed their next PS5 game. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Let the developers chill. Let them enjoy that work-life balance. Let them consistently progress on developing a game. Don't give it to the public. Don't get a release window. I am totally cool with that. When the game's ready to be revealed, hopefully they can parlay that into a release shortly thereafter. I'm not saying right away, but, you know, 6 to 12, 18 months, around that time period, I think would be great. Last of Us is a series doing very well, topping 37 million sold. Obviously, it'll probably crack 40 million by the end of the year with the PC version looming as well. One Piece Odyssey is going to give you about 2 hours of content from the main game. The save is going to be transferable. And then VR2, getting a plethora of free upgrades. After the Fall, Hello Neighbor, GT7, Light Brigade, No Man's Sky, Pistol Whip, Zenith the Last City, and then if you do have Village, you'll get the VR mode for that as free DLC as well. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.